everybody. We are back here. The magic of Skype and waiting a couple seconds for recording if you're watching the video. And you know what time it is? It's welcome back. It's the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast, the Bundesliga podcast covering everything that there is to know in the English language about Eintracht Frankfurt, the greatest club in the Frauen Bundesliga, the okayest club currently in the German Bundesliga, and happy to be in the top 8 in the Europa League. But we have to, but we will talk about some frustrations with them. Find new ways to keep things fresh. Garrett Comat's here in Metro Detroit. It snowed yesterday. It melted today. It's 70 degrees where producer Nathan's at. Where our buddy Chris in Austin is, it's like 90 something. Shit's fucking weird. And I can't do this shit alone. I did it last week. That's cool. You know, special circumstances, whatnot. Back with one of my partners in crime. Man, currently in Delaware, soon to be in Virginia. Sean Ben, maybe reeling from his Canucks losing to my Red Wings. How are you this evening?
Yeah, that wasn't great last night. You know, Canucks played regulation very well against y'all, and then come overtime, we lose as we always seem to do. But yeah, soon to be in Virginia. I actually just got my place last week and kind of, you know, slowly moving in over the course of this month, and then come March full time there. So exciting times.
You are wearing the last of the Jacko Eintracht Frankfurt kit years. I believe that is a 2013-2014 away.
Third, yeah.
So first things first. Is it technically a green or is it a teal or is it a verdigris?
It's a teal, I would say, but yeah.
Okay. And what's the name you're rocking?
I got the Václav Codlets on the back of this one. We were talking about him earlier in the Discord, so had to break this one out.
We will explain why we were talking about him in our second segment for the Männer. We're not starting off, and we're not doing a chrono format today. We're not going to talk about the Männers and the lads and all that in the beginning. We kind of be happy first and then get into the the things that unfortunately we can't avoid and talk about. We got to start off with our dear Eintracht Frauen back in action after the layoff, rested up. Frauen Bundesliga back in action this past Friday, 12:30 Eastern kickoff. Match day 13 of the Frauen Bundesliga saw first place Eintracht Frankfurt host third place Bayern Leverkusen. Level on points, Eintracht Frankfurt coming in with the goal difference at the Stadion and Breitenbad. And a matchup that was, for the neutral, very, very entertaining. For us, fucking stress watching at times. But at the end of the day, Eintracht Frankfurt withstood a Bayer Leverkusen, or dare we call them Banner Leverkusen. Cole at Flora Freigang had plenty of moments, didn't go in, but Nicole Anyomi gets tripped up in the 24th minute, leads to a Sarah Dorson penalty, which was inch perfect, just smooth operator. Sade would have been proud of that. Bayer Leverkusen 1 happened in the 34th minute. I'm not announcing, trying to guess that name. Nope. You could try if you want, John.
It's very easy. Carolina Williamsdottir. Not too hard.
Yeah, next thing you know, you're going to name the fucking Welsh train station. That's 27 letters.
I'm not touching Welsh with a 10-foot pole, that's for sure.
Eddie Bite, and our dear Irish friend. Literally a couple minutes later, a great transition movement. Nicole Anyomi's got the breakaway. drops the defender with with a stutter with the ball that I refer to as bringing back the stanky leg. For those that are not aware of the last 10, 15 years, there was a jam that you'd often hear in college clubs, especially wherever you were at Central Michigan University in 2009, 2010, and maybe 2011. And yes, I played it at work at halftime, the explicit version, thanks to Chris triple dog daring me, you fucker. 2-1 the Eintracht Frankfurt at halftime. Banger Leverkusen happened again, although from closer range in the 49th minute by Katarina Pilic, I believe, is the on there. Apologies. Huh?
Pilic.
Okay. So on for there. And then in the 51st minute, once again, great little transition play. Geraldine Reuteler, as I was saying, was collecting souls, first with hard tackling and then acute angle, inch perfect finish, 3-2, and then it was batting down the hatches because Bayer Leverkusen came full throttle. Nothing like mind-blowingly, but like a bunch of half chances. End of the day, 3-2 the final for the Frauen. 3 points clear. Bayer Leverkusen, we're done playing them in the Frauen Bundesliga. Thank fuck. Your takeaways when you watch that match.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. If you want to see an entertaining football match, definitely go watch that. Yeah, Freigang had some very wide open chances early in the game. Unfortunately, when you're just overperforming over the course of a season, sometimes those bounces start to not go your way, and I think that's kind of what happened here. But at the same time, she's still getting in those positions. Just unfortunate that she wasn't fully on her game, because the score could have easily been a couple more goals for Eintracht. Geraldine Reuteler, though, player of the game for me. She released Anyomi on the run that created the penalty. Absolutely perfect. I mean, great work by Anyomi as well to draw that pen. And then again, on Anyomi's goal, it was a great pass by Reuteler to get to Anyomi in the box, and then Anyomi did her deeks and got the goal. And then, of course, Reuteler capped it off with the winner. I think it was also really good and important that both of our goals came 2 minutes after they equalized. So that just shows that there's some fight in this team. They're not going to worry about giving up a goal. They're going to go right back at it. And then, of course, up 3-2. Leverkusen's a good side. They're going to get their chances. And honestly, they weren't great chances. We kind of limited them to not some like high expected goals kind of chances. And yeah, they had a lot of shots, but only 4 on target. I think we had 6 on target or something. So yeah, a good game from the Frauen to beat a very good Leverkusen side that was tied with us on points going into this match. And now we end the match week still in first place. Only by goal differential, of course.
Before we get into around the Bundesliga and preview what's ahead, Geraldine Reuteler, for me, I remember fully, because regularly fully watching Frauen Bundesliga, Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen stuff for me is a couple of seasons. Like, I knew about it, but it's like sitting down to actually watch it regularly and having the resources to be able to do it. Last year, my introduction to Geraldine Reuteler was a hardworking midfielder, centrally, obviously with Barbara Dunst being kind of the creative person to link up with Freigang and Prajnikar and Anyomi. And in there, this year, levels, she's playing not just centrally, she's playing up top. Mm-hmm. 6 goals, 4 assists in Frauen Bundesliga, an 8.4 rating on FOTMOB on Friday, the woman of the match for that. It just, especially with Barbara Dunst being out and Lara Prajnikar not having the season that she wants right now. Just how is this something that's like just another level and something that's like, hey, this is the or is this just, are we just witnessing something that's like just, I don't know about, I'm trying to think of the way to describe it, because it's fucking magical.
I think it's just, she's given the opportunity to play in a bit more of an attacking role this year. A couple of years ago, even, you really only had Pavelek as kind of your defensive midfielder. So she was having to do a lot more in terms of that. Now we have, Sense, Greva, Pavlek, all who can play, in a more defensive role. And so Reuteler, at the start of the year, she was starting in the front line. Obviously, now that Dunst is injured, she's going to have to be back a little bit. But again, still an attacking midfield role. And it's really just unlocked her passing. Her passing has been incredible this year. And obviously, she's scoring goals too. I think it's just a manner of she's been this player, but now she's playing in a position that really unlocks her full potential, and she's doing an amazing job with it.
I think it also helps you seeing with Grevo and Sense playing more centrally. I think it opens the door to a lot, like I said, to be a bit more advanced, while also have the physicality that we've come to know for her on that. And I also really, really love that. Obviously, we're blessed to see Nkounkou play for the club there, but also to have people we know who follow other clubs also really, really love Nicola and Yomi. Yes, I'm talking about you, Jake, from 50 Plus Donor. 50 Plus One Donor.
And Yomi Hive, rise up, baby. Jake's been on the Yomi wave since day one, and it's great. And Yomi is such an incredible player. She's so fun to watch, so skilled, and what a thing she is to have on our team.
So I think it's just a fun attacking right now. Frauen fucked up stat time. 7 goals allowed by Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen in 13 games, which is a fucked up stat considering Eintracht Frankfurt in defense usually do not get along with Männer or Frauen. 4 of them were against Bayer Leverkusen.
Yeah.
Like I said,
that's
so glad it's done.
And their goals in this match, what can you even do about them?
Nothing. You just hang your hat. And one of the other 3 goals producer Nathan was in attendance for, which was the only loss of the year. Oh, sorry, Brad.
Oh, yeah.
But
what though? Yeah. 3 out of our 7 goals are literally unstoppable shots. Whatever. It's just been an amazing defensive performance, midfield performance, goaltending performance. Just all of it's been absolutely incredible. And not to mention, we got the most goals scored in the league as well. So, what a time to be following this Frauen side.
Yes, indeed. Going real quick around this past Bundesliga before we break into this weekend. So the win over Leverkusen opened things up for this match day 13. SGS Essen FC Köln did not happen due to ice. I don't know. I don't have anything to say on if that was a blessing in disguise for Köln or not on there, or if it was just, both teams playing. I don't, anything could have been possible in that moment. You made a good note. Turbine Potsdam scored a goal. Unfortunately for them, Werder Bremen scored 4.
You know what? It doubles their season total goal output. So props to them. They're just in a really tough position, and so it's good to see them at least scoring.
I hope we are not tempting fate ahead of this weekend. Freiburg took on TSG Hoffenheim. Freiburg 0, Hoffenheim 3. So perhaps there's some joyous luck on the Frauen side of the Hoffenheim, as opposed to the Männer. Leipzig 0, Bayern Munich 1. 11th minute goal from Magdalena Eriksson. I know Bayern Munich seems to apparently have had some injury bugs from what I was hearing about on the Dijon commentary. Forgetting all the names off the top of my head, but I heard it's multiple. Wolfsburg today taking on Carl Siena 3-0, the final for Wolfsburg. So the table after match day 13, from bottom to top, Turbine Potsdam, as Sean mentioned, have now scored 2 goals. Unfortunately, they've also given up 38. So they are currently rock bottom with 1 point. Carl Siena in 11th, no wins also, but they have 3 draws. So they have 3 goals. They've given up 26, so not as much as Potsdam. FC Köln they have only played 12 with the Essen match being postponed. 1 win, 2 draws, 9 losses, 10 goals scored, 34 allowed, 8 of them against our dear Eintracht Frankfurt. Yeah, that's what's up. And then we go into 9th as I reload my tablet here. You got SGS Essen, 2 wins, 2 draws, 8 8 losses. Impressive that they've given up 16 goals. Unfortunate for them that they've only scored 9. They're at 8 points. Leipzig in 8th, 6 wins, a draw, 6 losses, 18 scored, 23 allowed. Freiburg in 7th, 6 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses, 20 scored, 22 allowed. Werder Bremen in 6th, 6 wins, 2 draws, 5 losses, 18 scored, 19 allowed. Hoffenheim in 5th, 7 wins, 6 losses, 24 scored, 18 allowed. Bayer Leverkusen 9 wins, 2 draws, 2 losses, 23 and 12. Their goals for and against in 4th place. And now you got VfL Wolfsburg, 10 wins, 1 draw, 2 losses, 33 scored, 10 allowed, 31 points. Eintracht Frankfurt, Bayern Munich level with 32 points, both with 10 wins, 2 draws, and a loss. Bayern Munich's goal difference, 34-4, 10 allowed. Eintracht Frankfurt, 41-4, 7 allowed. Holy shit.
You know what's funny, too, when you were reading off all that? I didn't realize that Hoffenheim hasn't yet played to a draw this year. That's a fucked up stat as well. Only team in the league.
Hoffenheim haven't played to a draw. Jena and Potsdam haven't won. And yeah, Cologne have allowed the second most goals in the Frauen Bundesliga.
Oh man, you're just
doing
them dirty now.
Good thing we did. All I'm just gonna say is good thing the friendly didn't count. It wasn't actually a league match.
In a few weeks.
Yeah. I'm going to get banned so hard. Let's go around the Frauen Bundesliga for this week, and so we can preview our matchup. This Friday is Cologne Wolfsburg. Donor folks, I am actually rooting for you on this thing. You'll get a lot of praise. Well, maybe not a lot of praise. You'll get a medicinal amount of praise. That's at 12:30. You can watch that on DAZN. Saturday, you got 2 matchups. Bayer Leverkusen, SKS Essen at 6 a.m. Woo! 8 a.m. Werder Bremen, RB Leipzig. Super Bowl Sunday. Too soon for us. Here in Detroit, that'll be on there, but never mind, Brian. Hoffenheim, Bayern Munich, 8 a.m. 12:30 p.m. Eintracht Frankfurt, Turbine Potsdam. Let's go. Monday, noon, Jena, Freiburg. So let's rewind real quick. Eintracht Frankfurt hosting Turbine Potsdam. An old rivalry going back to the Erste FFC Frankfurt days. Back when FFC and Potsdam were the big kahunas. Now FFC's is now the Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen, and Potsdam's trying to build their way back up to past glory. Trap match for us?
No.
Diva match?
I'm sorry. Like, if we don't come out of this scoring at least 4 goals, I will be a little upset. I hate to, not take an opponent seriously, but if there's one in any league across Europe right now, it's unfortunately just Potsdam. They've been atrocious this year. It's unfortunate because, you want the clubs who are a women's only team club to survive. It's good for the sport, in my opinion, which is why it's great that Essen is staying in the league as long as they have, despite extremely limited resources. But yeah, Potsdam is just in a really, really bad spot this year.
First matchup between the two sides on September 22nd, Potsdam 0, Eintracht Frankfurt 6. 5 of the goals happened from the 62nd minute onwards. So, but
when we played Jena as well, it took us a long time to score, and then the floodgates kind of opened. So, they'll probably be able to play a defensive style for most of the game, but we just have so much attacking power. I think eventually we'll break through and score a handful of goals.
At the Bretnobad also too, so home confines. All right, you go first. Prediction and goal scores.
I'll go with 5-1. I'll give Anyomi a brace. Give Freigang one since she needs to get back on the score sheet. Reuteler, and then why not former Potsdam player, not having her best year, but Lara Prochnikar for the 5th goal.
I don't think it's going to be for us 5-goal thing. Potsdam, I'm not giving Turbine Potsdam a thing that they're going to score a goal, which means they'll probably score a goal. But I'm going to go Eintracht Frankfurt Frauen 3, Potsdam now. A little bit have to grind for it, probably because it might be a little bit more of I hope it's not a relaxed effort, or as far as like the build up and everything like that, but I can see it try to be. It might remind me also a little bit of that RB Leipzig match we had, where it took a little. I think that ended 3-0 if I recall right, but it took a bit, and it was a little bit frustrating because it's like, what are we doing? Freigain's going to score. I agree with you there. Freigain and Yomi Prajnikar.
There we go.
I think Laura Prajnikar is hungry to get something. The question is when she's going to get it, and hopefully it's this weekend. So
we need her to get on her game. Unfortunately, it's just not happening for her this year so far at all. I think she's playing decently when she's in the matches, but it's just a little off, and she's not able to find the net at all. Not really getting the assists either. So she's someone who has been extremely important for this side for the past few years. And if Freigain does go cold because she was so hot to begin the year, we need to make up those goals somehow, and Prajnikar can do it.
Yeah. Especially, because, like Sarah Darson's got 4 goals, but they're pens usually. And, it's like you got Reuteler, thankfully with, Prajnikar not getting his Reuteler stepped up a bit. And then you have Chiba from this, tearing up in subs roles and Bomser. So it's like there's roles for people to score goals, whether you're starting or as a sub. It's just getting the form to be able to regularly score the goals is going to be the thing. So hopefully that is there. All right, so we have talked about the joys of Frauen Bundesliga. Now we got to wrap up the joys before we go into the hurt. Hashtag what are we drinking? We can include what are we eating too. John, fill us in. I know you got your tried, tested, true tweet with you.
Yeah, well, I was going to say you brought in the what are we eating, and I had an all-you-can-eat sushi lunch today before I drove back to Delaware from Virginia, and I am still full from that. Somehow able to kind of stomach this tweet right now. But on Saturday, I had some nice Tavern Brown Ale from Aleworks, one of my favorite breweries. They're based in Williamsburg, Virginia, and that's always one of my go-to beers. What a taster!
Yeah, I got right now. So I've had today for Monday was the first Monday team lunch for my department at work. So there's this place called Avalon Bakery. So I had a chicken Capri Sweat for lunch. And then I am also fortunate that one of my coworkers, he's a great food chef, but his family doesn't eat leftovers. So I get to have the leftovers. So he brought in beef stroganoff, which was a shit ton. So I got to have some home for dinner on that. So I have a nice foundation. I went and saw my mom earlier. I had enough coffee for the day. So I got coffee for her on that. But I got a wild cherry Pepsi that I'm still halfway working on. It's 10:22 in the evening. I'll go to sleep eventually. Whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking, wherever you're at, we say cheers, we say prost, and we say good health to you all. So with that, if you're checking out the audio version, you might see a break as we resume. In the video version, we keep going on, even though we don't really want to. So, Modern time. You might have heard me have a nice, short, sweet recap the Adler Europa on Thursday. Maybe the quickest recap the Adler I've ever done. Eintracht Frankfurt's 2-0 loss to Roma on the match day 8 of the Europa. It didn't exactly, while painful to watch, it meant that they still finished in the top 8, which means they have a bye. Don't have to play the knockouts. Means that they'll be playing in March in the Europa. And judging by the interviews that I read on the club's website from a few people, it seemed like, they didn't like losing, they weren't too sad about it. So was it Eintracht Frankfurt, in your quick opinion, not playing to win in Rome on Thursday, but playing not to lose, just in terms of not completely, having a catastrophe to knock themselves out based off of letting in a shit ton of goals.
Yeah, I mean, I think it was clear that the players thought they were going to finish top 8. It would have taken a lot for us not to finish top 8. But there was still a possibility to drop into 9th, and that meant losing this game. But yeah, it was clear that the effort just wasn't there. At the same time, Roma had to win in order to secure their spot through into the playoffs. So, and while I don't think Roma's effort was anything amazing either, they still had to play to win more so than we did, and you saw that in how it played out. And it just kind of just a really flat game, some really poor defending on their goals, like just tough.
Yeah. And it's one of those things where I think we were just in a lot of like things. Thankfully, if anyone got off scot-free in our group, it's our buddy Chris, because Chris was flying to New York. Thankfully, didn't have to see that shit. So yeah, that's everything on there. So glad to be through the Europa round of 16. But fuck, it was miserable. Let's go.
At one point, we were all the way down to 7th. We could have dropped further given the loss, but thankfully we.
Hoffenheim saved our ass.
Hoffenheim did kind of save us. That's so wild. Even though they lost and even though they won and still didn't get through, but
still fucked up. We had to rely on Hoffenheim.
Yeah.
Now let's go around the Bundesliga to then talk about our thing Sunday. Werder Bremen opened things up with a 1-0 win over Mainz. Saturday saw Bayern Munich, almost, as you've coined the term, spill the gumbo.
No, that's not me. That's Jake. Jake did that.
Yeah, but you said it in relation to this match.
Oh, well, I mean, yeah.
Credit also to Jake on the gumbo and the donor folks for everything, because that makes me think of like gumbo, and I feel bad for gumbo. Why would you spill gumbo? Gumbo was so good. But what I'm referencing is Bayern Munich had a 4-0 lead. Holstein Kiel scored in the 62nd minute, then 2 in stoppage time. Bayern 4, Holstein Kiel 3. Bochum 0, Freiburg 1. Heidenheim 1, Borussia Dortmund 2. Dortmund 1 on the road. They also have Niko Kovac.
It's a new era in Dortmund. I don't know if it's going to be a good one, but it's something.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, that's for sure. St. Pauli 1, Augsburg 1, 83rd minute equalizer by Augsburg seals the 1 point. VfB Stuttgart 1, Borussia Monchengladbach 2. Tim Kleindienst wins it in the 81st minute. 2 consecutive losses for Stuttgart. And
3 goals in that match were scored by Borussia Mönchengladbach.
Yeah. And VfB Stuttgart also, unfortunately for them, on Champions League Day 8, played themselves out of a Champions League spot because, God, was it PSG that they played?
Yeah, PSG smacked them, unfortunately. All they needed was a draw to advance. A loss they could have still, but they required some help from Club Brugge that did not come.
Yeah, so unfortunate for them. Seems to, especially now when you're looking at the table positioning. So as we're continuing onward, we then wrong button here. Union Berlin 0, RB Leipzig 0.
Union arguably should have won that game too. That was a hell of an effort from them, I gotta say.
Yeah, and if you're looking at the stat line for RB Leipzig, having possession, but 2 shots on target compared to Union Berlin's 6, 21 shots to 6 in favor of Union Berlin, a 1.27 XG to 0.27. Yeah, maybe on another day, Steffen Baumgart's team gets the 3 points. But on there, Bayer Leverkusen 3-1 at the 11:30 a.m. Matchup yesterday. Now, unfortunately, we get to talk about how Eintracht Frankfurt, for the fourth straight season, cannot beat VfL Wolfsburg at the Waldstadion. The goal, actually, that VfL Wolfsburg, I thought, scored was actually given to Tuta. You know what? He deserves that embarrassment. I'm sorry, because what the fuck was that defending?
Yeah.
However, first off, in the 56th minute, first pair of subs, John Bahoya comes in for Ansgar Knopf. Hugo Larsson comes in for Oscar Hoyland. 12 minutes later, Kamujan comes on for Ella Shkiri. Good. Shkiri was off yesterday. Niels Nkounkou came on for Nathaniel Brown. And in the 81st minute, Jean Bahoya on the left flank cuts it to his right foot, delivers an inside cross, meets the head of Kamujan. Niels Nkounkou also very, very sharp as a substitute appearance, but unfortunately, not enough. 1-1 draw. I don't know if you checked it out, but before the feed went off, there was an Bundesliga English interview with Kevin Trapp.
And watch it.
So the commentator was talking about how Wolfsburg had the third best road record. Are you satisfied with the draw? And Kevin's like, no, we shouldn't have drawn. Wasn't fully into, but it was just like, man, a few words, sullenness. And was it because of how Wolfsburg played, or were we the architects of our own, I don't want to say downfall, but we prevented ourselves from getting the success that we could have gotten yesterday?
Yeah, I mean, we looked horrible, honestly, until we made substitutions. I think it's clear Skiri cannot be playing every game, and he's been playing every game and a lot of minutes in every game, and he was really, really bad. That really hurt the midfield. Knauf just was not in the game, and kind of how I feel about Abembe, I love them. I think they're great when they're on, but they're guys who, when they're having a tough time in a match, they're just not able to pull it together and make something happen. And I think that was really hurting any kind of chance to get the ball forward to Ekitike and create kind of anything. Wolfsburg played well. I think that Hasenhüttl has them playing decent football.
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised that goal got attributed to Tuta. I mean, he deserves to get an own goal because it was terrible defense. But
5.0 rating on FOTMob for his performance yesterday.
Yeah, that's just not good enough. And unfortunately, he had a bad match against Roma as well. He left Shomurodov, just completely mistimed the header to try and bat it away, and then Shomurodov was in free to score too. So yeah, a couple of bad matches in a row for Tuta. Not great, but it's especially not great because Robin Koch went out injured in this match, and now he is out for a month.
It would have been a lot worse the way he landed, because was it collarbone or was it rotator cuff?
It seemed like collarbone. I didn't see what. I think all I saw was just shoulder injury. I didn't see anything specific, so I don't know. But it's not ideal. But you know what? As soon as Nkounkou and Uzun came on the pitch, all of a sudden everything kind of started to click. I mean, Ekitike had that shot go right off the bar. Oh, that would have been a beautiful goal. But
tight angle too.
Yeah, very tight. It would have been an incredible shot. And then, Nkounkou also was creating a lot more than Brown had been creating. Maybe not the most precise crosses here and there, but at least was energetic, running the ball up the field. Uzun looked amazing and, of course, came away with the goal. We had our chances to get a winner in that, even though I don't think we really deserved to win that game. So I think a draw is a fair result in the game, but I agree with Kevin Trapp. We shouldn't be drawing that game. We're at home against a good but not great opponent. We should be finding a way to win that match.
Arthur Teat also, I'm going to give a shout out too, because I had mentioned in the Discord at one point that before the subs came on in the second half, Arthur Teat was our biggest attacking threat. Yeah. 7.8 on FOTMob, man of the match rating on there. What is it about Wolfsburg at the Waldstadion? For the last time Eintracht Frankfurt beat Wolfsburg at the Waldstadion was 4-3. A thrilling matchup of an Adi Hutter Eintracht Frankfurt versus an Oliver Glasner VfL Wolfsburg. And then it was announced after that Adi Hutter is linked to go to Borussia Monchengladbach, and
it all went downhill.
briefly before we won the Europa League while finishing
Well, that's
12th in that season.
we were in a Champions League spot for so long, and then he and I was going to Gladbach, and we fall out of it like with 2 or 3 weeks left in the season. Oh,
Yeah, that damn diva back again.
I mean, yeah, I don't know what it is about Wolfsburg. I don't know why they're able to play so well at us. It's like us at Leverkusen and stuff. Like, there's no reason for it. It just happens.
Yeah, and I think for me that's I don't understand it. I don't know it. I can't explain it. I don't know if I don't want to sit and explain it because I want to forget about these matches that happens. So yeah, I am a little like I'm trying to think, is it just because we had a rough Thursday or Sunday and that's it? Or are we seeing the effects of a post Omar Marmoush Eintracht Frankfurt? Although Chamujan seems to be an emerging light.
I mean, you know what? To end the year, last calendar year, even with Omar Marmoush, we went through a very, well, not very long, but a decently long period of just not winning games. It
right,
just happens.
The month of December, yeah.
Yeah, sometimes it just happens, and I think we're just in one of those ruts. And I think we have the ability to pull ourselves out of it. We just need to get that mentality right and need to do it soon because we need to get some points before we face Bayern, before we face Leverkusen, and before we have this round of 16 in Europa League.
Yeah, if there's an advantage right now is we're done playing midweek matches for a month, next 5 weeks or so, which is, as much as I'd love to be in the Pokal and not for us to experience that Wednesday, December 4th against Leipzig, it may turn out to be one of the better things for the squad right now to only have 1 a week to focus on for a bit. Do we want to go around the Bundesliga and talk there, or do we want to talk transfers?
We can go around the table before we preview the next week, maybe.
And then wrap it up with transfers?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go around. What's ahead this coming weekend? Is there Pokal this week? But
yes.
Even if there's not, unfortunately, it's a painful subject for us, and we're not in it, so we don't really care who wins it.
Please,
huh?
just not Leipzig. That's all.
Yeah. So we got VfB Stuttgart Augsburg tomorrow at 2:45. Then on Wednesday, Bayer Leverkusen FC Köln, a Rhine derby on ESPN2.
Yeah.
Oh. Keep it respectable, Köln boys.
That has really poor potential for Köln, unfortunately. But, I mean, they're playing well, but they're also going up against the Leverkusen side playing well. So, yeah, different levels of playing well for sure.
Should we be in the...
It's on ESPN2, though. I think that's a good thing. Even though it's, in the middle of the day, so people probably aren't going to be able to watch as much, but...
Should we be in the donor Discord during that time, or is it best to not be in the donor Discord?
I mean, I'm on their side for this one, so
Yeah, it has a lot of interesting potential, but this is also the magic of the DFB Pokal, especially when the defending Bundesliga champions are hosting the current Zweite Bundesliga leaders and a traditional Rhine derby.
DFB Pokal winners as well.
Yeah. So I think this is a great example of just showing Bundesliga, Zweite Bundesliga in general. So it'll be hope for everyone's sake. It is not a complete painful watch. 2:45 Eastern on ESPN2. The remaining 2 Pokals are on February 25th and 26th. Arminia Bielefeld hosting Werder Bremen, and then Wednesday, February 26th, RB Leipzig, VfL Wolfsburg.
What a gross matchup.
Volkswagen.
Ugh.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Okay, let's go back. Let's go to around the Bundesliga. Let's get that taste out of our mouth. Friday. Fuck. We have to actually no, wait, that's next week. Okay. Friday, February 7th, 2:30 p.m. Bayern Munich, Werder Bremen. If I'm not mistaken, Werder Bremen beat Bayern at Allianz last season.
yes, but they lost Bittencourt to injury in their last game. They got, 2 players suspended and their coach, all with red cards. So Werder Bremen's going to be heavily undermanned for this one.
But they did pick up Andre Silva.
That is true. That is so funny.
The world goes round on there.
Man, an Andre Silva winner against Bayern would hit so hard.
2021 call. Oh wait, did Andre Silva score in 2021 against them? Or was that the Eunice and Kostic show? Eunice had a game against them.
Like you beat them 5-1, right, or something. I think Silva scored against them.
I'm talking about the 3-2 in COVID.
Oh yeah, I don't remember. I don't think he did.
Yeah, but that was wild. So that's 2:30 Friday. Borussia Dortmund VfB Stuttgart at 9:30. Freiburg Heidenheim, Hoffenheim Union Berlin, Mainz Augsburg, Wolfsburg Bayer Leverkusen. Gross. Those are the other 9:30 matchups. We're gonna flip to Sunday real quick before we rewind to the Tippspiel on Saturday. Holstein Kiel Bochum. We got a bottom 6. We got a bottom 3 battle. And then RB Leipzig St. Pauli at 11:30. Con Pauli.
Pauli played Leipzig very, very well in their first meeting, but that was, when Pauli couldn't score at home, so it ended 0-0. I think they could do something in that game. And Kiel Bochum, that's a hell of a relegation 6-pointer. Oh boy.
It is going to be some nasty ass weather in that fucking area on that day. But 12:30 p.m. the battle of the. Do we still call this the Adi Hoocher Derby or no? Borussia Monchengladbach, Eintracht Frankfurt. The third time these sides are facing each other. First time in the Bundesliga happened on September the 21st. A 2-0 Eintracht Frankfurt win at the Waldstadion. And then on October 30th, DFB Pokal. 2-1 by a 10-man Eintracht Frankfurt. Great nerve-wracking battle. But that was the emergence, of my opinion, of Monty Collins and Nathaniel Brown. Yep. So matched up with some fortitude on here. Borussia Mönchengladbach are currently in the table, as I'm bringing it up here. 7th place, 30 points. Couple points 1 point out of the last spot currently in Europe. 32 goals scored, 30 allowed. Obviously, the big name for Borussia Mönchengladbach this year is Tim Kleindienst, coming over from Heidenheim, 12 goals, 5 assists. But, still got a lot of the names that we know. They still have Alexander Plea. Kevin Stuger's also a new name from Bochum that has 4 assists. Frank Honorat, 2 goals, 4 assists. So this team can score, but this team can also concede. 30 goals allowed. However, 18 of them have been away. Borussia Mönchengladbach's home form, 6 wins, a draw, 3 losses, 21 scored, 12 allowed. However, Eintracht Frankfurt have won or drawn the last 3 times at Borussia Mönchengladbach. So, going into this one, there is currently a 5-point advantage for Eintracht Frankfurt on 4th place Leipzig and 6 points on Stuttgart, 7 points on Mainz. How do you feel this match? Are you feeling like it's going to could be a lot like what we saw this past week? Or do you feel like there might be a spark?
I mean, I think that there have to be a number of lineup changes made from both Thursday's match and Sunday's match. Hopefully it provides a spark, but we obviously could get a spark from one of our new signings as well. I think Wahi is supposed to be ready for this game, and then we'll see if the other one that we'll talk about here in a second will play there. I don't think he'll be, definitely not starting. I don't think he'll start, but he could be on the bench for that one. So we'll see. There could be a spark in a new player, but I kind of like the way that Gladbach's playing right now. I'm a little worried about them. I don't know. I'm really unsure how this one's gonna play out.
Goals are going to be had in this match
For sure.
between both sides. This is not an Eintracht Frankfurt clean sheet match. Shouldn't be. If it is, something's fucked up. Dust settles. Where do you see it? Who scores?
I'm going with a 2-2 draw. I don't think we're playing well enough right now to guarantee a win. And I think Gladbach's playing okay enough where a draw is probably going to happen. I'll go with Ekitike for a goal, and then why not Can Uzun? He's in form. So
I'm going to go Borussia Mönchengladbach 1, Eintracht Frankfurt 2. I think there's something about this Gladbach side that they've had moments and they've looked good in spurts against Eintracht Frankfurt in both matches that they played this year, but there's something about this Eintracht Frankfurt side that gets to them a little bit. And I think that could continue. I think it'll be Kleindienst that'll get the goal for Borussia Mönchengladbach. I think he's the hot hand. He'll find a way to get it in. It's either him or Play, because Play loves scoring against Eintracht Frankfurt. For Eintracht Frankfurt, Hugo Ekitike, I agree with you. He gets back on the score sheet. I am going to go with Miles Erich. He's due for a goal. I think there's glimpses of his play in the last couple matches, but there's also been moments of frustration. So I think this is a good matchup for him on there. I think Uzun could be a provider here. I think he won't be the goal scorer, but he'll have a hand in one or both. So I'm going 3 points for Eintracht Frankfurt to complete a 3-for-3 against Borussia Mönchengladbach, which would,
it would be nice.
It'd make my heart happy. I forget there's a saying that I can't remember in German off the top of my head. All right. Transfer time. I went into a little bit of in the solo half pod last week. I kind of gave my little piece on Eli Wahi. I'll let you have your moment on it, as I know when you were filling in, you were kind of one of the ones filling in on some of the situations. So it's been a week plus since we've announced them. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, obviously I have a lot of concerns about the off the field stuff with Wahi. I'm not going to go into detail about what happened, but anyone can look up why he was kicked out of the Caen Academy when he was 15 or 16 years old, I believe. And then he had another incident in a nightclub when he was 19 years old that really isn't great. Not like the worst incident ever, but not a good look at all. And so, yeah, I don't know. I have trouble with that. I don't really trust a lot of professional athletes with actually turning the corner on that, because people kind of just say, oh, they've gotten better without any kind of proof about the work that's been done there. And so that it's, yeah, he was young during those, but it was still pretty bad to an extent that that takes a lot of work to get better from. So I don't know. I don't love that aspect of the transfer. I think 25 million is also a lot of money for him. Marseille paid 25 million for him in the summer. He hasn't done a lot for them. I know he's only averaging about 45 minutes a game for them this year, but still he only has 3 goals, 1 assist, I believe, is his stat line. So it seems a little weird to pay the same exact amount for him in the winter. I know we're desperate for a striker, but there were other options out there. I don't know. I think it's also we're splashing a club record transfer on this guy, That's a commitment. That's a really big commitment. and he needs to work in order to justify that. And that means he needs to score. We need to make Champions League. I personally don't love the idea of having paid a club record transfer before ever making Champions League from the league. It just seems like a slightly poor financial decision. But as long as we're not consistently kind of doing that and staying somewhat responsible, I'm okay. But yeah, I don't know. So I don't love the Wahi signing overall. I think he's a talented player. Don't get me wrong. I think he can absolutely score goals for us. So it might work out in a sporting sense. Yeah, that's kind of my take on it.
And then we did also hear rumblings that from some of our Marseille people that our podcast team chats with, that they might have given up on Wahi a little bit early. What that means, who entirely knows. There was a move that almost happened in terms of outgoing. Dina Mbembe to Monaco. Did not happen through one reason or another. And while Dina Mbembe had been basically, I wouldn't say frozen, but somebody who was not featuring in match days for a while, is now starting to train again with the team. Feature seems like he is staying with Eintracht right through in this window. Is this a potential for him, if we get him going, where that can feel like a new signing?
I hope so. I think he's an incredibly useful player. When he's on, he's a great player. But again, very inconsistent at times. And I think that's part of the issue. Part of the issue, I think, is probably his attitude in training as well a little bit. But also somewhat understandable because he hasn't been put in the squad a lot. Obviously, he didn't end up going to Monaco because of a failed medical, and then they were supposed to reschedule it. It didn't happen or something. I don't know. And Monaco moved on. They grabbed Mika Bierreith, who's doing great for them. But yeah, so Dina Mbembe is back with Frankfurt. I hope that the relationship can be fully restored between him, Dino, and the club. And he plays some games. You know, he's performed in big moments in Europe for us. And man,
even this season.
Yeah. Hell, I mean, he had the winning assist against, or not the winning, the tying assist against Bayern as well. Yeah. So yeah, like this guy's a player. I like him a lot, and I hope he comes back to the squad with renewed energy and gets in some games.
Agreed. So, and I think also, if that gives you any idea, I think it's a signing, and hopefully it's a spark, but it has to be this current squad that got everybody going so far. If you try to rely on the same people throughout the course of a long season, especially over multiple fronts, it's not going to work because people are going to get tired, they're going to get worn down, etc. So this is where hopefully, like seeing the emergence of Chamuson, the reemergence of Dina Mbembe, it's another production, whether it's Bahoya, Knauff, other supporting things. If you can get that, I think you can navigate and finish in a Champions League spot, whether it's third or fourth. Because I don't think Germany is going to get the fifth coefficient this year.
They're too far away. I don't think Germany has the potential to get those points with, Leipzig, Stuttgart, and Hoffenheim all failing to qualify for even the playoff rounds. England and Italy are kind of running away with it. Spain has an outside shot at getting the fifth, but I think it's going to be England and Italy this year. So
third or fourth right now is going to look like the Champions League spots in addition to the top two, but I don't think you're going to touch the top two of Bayern Munich and Bayer Leverkusen unless you go on a wildfire run, or a more heated run. I want to be mindful of the wording I'm using in that section. But the point is, it's like Mbembe and going, and perhaps the struggles of Igor Matanovic this season led to what we then saw today on transfer deadline day, which normally transfer deadline day in the winter is January 31st or February 1st. Not here. February 3rd for some fucked up reason. Unless you're in Turkey, you still have like 8 more days of this shit. John brought to our attention in the Discord about the middle of the day that Eintracht Frankfurt were apparently in talks to bring in Michy Batshuayi, Belgian striker, 31 years old. I then replied with, what fucking year is this? Because I have remembered being in a hotel room in England in 2019 when Michy Batshuayi was announced as a loan deal from Chelsea to my English love Crystal Palace, which happened twice, 2019 and for the 2020-21 season. But again, 2019 was 6 years ago. 2020, 21, 4 or 5 years ago. Batshuayi is currently played in Galatasaray, 18 games played, 5 goals. In league play, John, you might have some more stats. But the deal was made official, and it's not a loan. It is a permanent move. I think originally it was wanting to be a loan deal, but due to FIFA requirements, Galatasaray have the maximum amount of players that can be out on loan, so they needed to offload somebody, especially because I think Alvaro Morata came in today for Galatasaray along with Victor Osimhen, who's already at the club. The deal for Michy Batshuayi is what, 3 million euro?
Yeah, I didn't see whether it's 2 or 3 or if it's like 2 can go up to 3. Anyway, let's just say it's 3 million euros. That's about it.
I'm happier about the move with that. Now my wonder is, how are you going to feature Michy Batshuayi in the squad?
I think it's kind of interesting too. He's leaving Galatasaray because they're bringing in Morata. Now he's going to be the third choice striker there. I still think he's very clearly the third choice striker here at best. I know Uzun can play in a few different positions, but I kind of really liked what he's brought when he's played up top. And so I think he's still going to be the third choice striker behind Ekitike and Wahi now. I don't know. It's an interesting move. I really didn't like it when I first saw it. I'm kind of coming around on it in terms of it's a $3 million deal, whatever. Initially, the reports were that he was going to sign a contract here until the summer of 2026. His contract actually will run until the summer of 2027, so an extra year. I hope his salary is not as much as he's making for Galatasaray. He was making 5 million euros a year with Galatasaray. Not an insane number, but it's still more than anyone on our team currently makes. So hopefully hopefully that salary is a little bit lower and we can save some money in that regard. He's done all right in Turkey. He went on loan to Beşiktaş in his last year with his Chelsea contract. Then he went to Fenerbahce the year after, was there for a couple of years, now to Galatasaray. Pretty funny.
Fenerbahce's eternal rivals. You want to talk about a heated derby? Holy shit.
Yeah, pretty funny. He goes to Beşiktaş the year after they win the league. They lose the league to Fenerbahce. Goes to Fenerbahce. They lose the league to Galatasaray 2 years in a row. So he goes to Galatasaray. And as they're winning the league, leaves the team. But he's been decently productive in Turkey in his time there. Definitely a slight drop off this year, but again, he's playing behind Victor Osimhen, so it's not like he's a first choice striker at all for them. And he can do more than just be a straight up striker. I think his profile is fine enough for what we want in one of our attacking players. So I think it's a deal that it's a low ceiling, but I think it's also a medium floor kind of deal. It's fine. It's whatever.
Michy Batshuayi is also somebody that could be a streaky goal scorer. Mm-hmm. I remember when Chelsea won the Premier League title in 2017 in the 2016-17 season, Batshuayi scored the winning goal to win the title.
Yeah.
And then the following season, these inconsistent run led him on loan to Borussia Dortmund, where he then tore it the fuck up. That earned a loan move out of Chelsea to Valencia, which an inconsistent thing sent him back and then loaned over to Palace, where he featured the second half of the 2018-2019 season. I think it was with Chelsea in 1920, and then Palace on 2021, and then Beşiktaş, as mentioned. So he's moved around a little bit. 31, going to be 32.
No, not 32 until the next season, though.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay, so that's good at least there.
Something, it's not too bad.
So I think if you give him, if he's one of those guys where he's 15 to 25 minutes, maybe 30, I'm okay with it. I don't want the idea of him starting a lot of games, especially when you look at it's the youth that's gotten us to where we're at for the most part. Mario Götze has had some moments. But on the other hand, it's, I don't want to stray away from the formula too much.
Yeah.
Because I think if you stray away from the formula too much, it might put the message out to your youth that they're not ready for this moment. And I don't think that's fair to them. I think that moment, success or not, should fall on our young talent.
They're the guys we've invested in more heavily anyway. And
right.
So I think that should be pretty clear from the top brass to Dino that, hey, this is our investment. Batshuayi's here as an option, but I don't he's not coming in as a starter, and he shouldn't be.
Would you have moved out Igor Matanovic for a loan to get some time in the winter?
I would have, especially if you knew you were bringing in Batshuayi. It seems like this came together relatively quickly. I know Christopher Michel had said something like a day or two ago about there's someone else out there that he doesn't know the name of that we were looking into. But again, that was still really late into the process. I mean, so at this point, it was just too late to send him out on loan. Now, he could go out on loan to Turkey, theoretically, because they still have, 8 more days of their window open.
Austria's got 3. Yeah, there's a couple of countries that still have an open window for a bit of time.
Yeah, he still could go out to somewhere else, but probably not to an ideal location for his development. I think you would want to keep him in Germany or maybe send him to Belgium or the Netherlands or something. But yeah, and bringing in Batshuayi, I don't see how Matanovic really sees the pitch at all for the rest of the year because of that.
Yeah, if we were still in the Pokal and we had if there was a third competition, then yeah, I could see that. But unless it's going to be like your Holstein Kiels, your Bochum matchups, maybe, your lower half teams, but that's not going to be for at least another few match days. Yeah. So I think it'll be really interesting. Really interesting to see the dynamic on it, especially when maybe we're surprised they didn't make another defensive move. Aiden Heaven, somebody that was linked to Eintracht Frankfurt, was at the Waldstadion a couple weeks back for the win over Borussia Dortmund, moving to Manchester United. Although they'll need a lot. Current Manchester United thing is they're going to need a lot more than Heaven to survive this year, especially losing to my Crystal Palace at home yesterday. What's up? John Paul Mateta loving kicking corner flags. So
boom.
What up? So yeah, I mean, shout out Banga Boys for that jam. So yeah, I think it's in a unique window. I was talking about it with a coworker of mine. We were talking about the window. And hopefully this is one of the last windows for Eintracht Frankfurt that when they're offered an insane amount of money while in a thriving position, they don't have to be like, yeah, let's take it right now.
Yeah.
They can force the power to be like, we want to do this, but it's not going to be now. It's going to be this summer. Because this is a gamble.
Massive.
And I'm not talking just Wahi. You're moving your most influential player right now, one of. And if he's not the first, he's your second most at that time. For the sake of 75 plus 5 billion euros. Yes, it's not a number you can't lightly look over. But at the same time, for the second time in almost 5 years, we could be self-sabotaging our season. And that we've had that experience before, self-sabotaging and not making the Champions League because of money. We didn't want to lose €5 million or whatever to let Adi Hooter go ahead of the season and we fell apart.
I think the one saving grace for us to stay in the top four is those teams directly below us have really been beating each other up. Gladbach's win over Stuttgart was very good for us, honestly. It kept Stuttgart back. So if that can continue to happen and we can play decently enough, we're still in a good position to finish in a Champions League spot. But, yeah, it's a massive gamble. Omar Marmoush was the best player in the Bundesliga for the first half of the season. I don't think there's any doubt in my mind about that. And you lose a player of that, not only caliber, because I think he was overperforming, but, again, when you're on a heater, that can last a whole season. And you lose that, it's really, really, really hard to replace. Hopefully we don't just end up shitting the bed for the rest of the year, and the guys coming in can help to try to make up for that loss.
Especially when you look at the fact that in the last 2 match days, while Stuttgart have lost both and Leipzig have drawn, we've dropped 4 points.
Yeah.
And that is... It just seems like it's like I don't want to rue these last 2 match days. When we sit back at the end of May or beginning of June and look upon this season as what it was on there. So we will see. We're looking forward to Saturday on there. Any closing things you want to add before we go into the let's talk about some watch party stuff that's taking place for the supporter stuff.
Was just about to say for this Saturday, there are 2 watch parties that I know of. So one of them, EFC Carolinas, will be having a watch party that will be at Fortnite Brewing Company in Wake Forest, North Carolina. So if you are in the Raleigh area, make sure to join EFC Carolinas for the match against Gladbach. EFC DC will also be having a watch party on Saturday that will be at Ireland's Four Courts, which is in Arlington, Virginia. So come out if you're in the DC area.
So, yeah, and then, like I said, the match will be on ESPN Plus, 12:30 kickoff. Nice prime thing. I love that both matches against Gladbach this year were in the league were Tippspiels. So, yeah, that's pretty dope. And with that being said, now ways you can check out the rest of the for example, a map of where you can find Eintracht Frankfurt supporters, go to hefpod.com. In addition to all prior episodes in SoundCloud form, I believe the YouTube is up. Everything in nature for that. There'll be some written stuff happening soon. I know there's going to be open up a blog that's open up to anyone that wants to cover some pieces on for there. You can also find us online at Twitter at hefpod, HEFPOD, also on Blue Sky at hefpod.bsky.social. Eintracht Frankfurt on the Instagram. Shout out to Matt for that, Miles for graphic work, Nathan in St. Louis for production, Brian in Kansas City for running the damn ship. Not rooting for you on Sunday though. Chris as well for running the stuff with the website, and anyone else we're forgetting. Cheers to all of you. And you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Discord at GM Comex, and I try for Detroit at Detroit SGE. We'll get a Blue Sky soon. We're going to be basically doing some stuff for posting, no watch party stuff. I'll keep everybody in the loop on that. John, where can folks find you online?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at JohnBen33, or if you're listening to this, let's be real, the place to go is Blue Sky, johnben.bsky.social. The soccer community on there is really growing, and it's become a lot of fun. It's a great place to talk footy with a lot of Bundesliga people, a lot of people from around the European sports landscape, from even to the U.S. soccer landscape, MLS, USL, NWSL, everything. It's a good time.
Yeah, highly agree on that. It's definitely worth the definitely worth it because you need as much joy as you can get in this world. So for John in Delaware, soon to be Virginia, Garrett here in Michigan, wherever you're at, thanks for checking out another episode of the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt podcast. We'll be back next week. Be also on the lookout for Recap the Adler stuff on the Hey Eintracht Frankfurt YouTube. Hit that like and subscribe if you haven't yet. But yeah, until next time, so long, farewell, auf Wiedersehen, auf Wiedersehen und Tschüss und Fórza SGE. Yep. Still fucked up. We had to rely on Hoffenheim. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la. Hey, Eintracht Frankfurt, la 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 la.